everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and welcome back to my Dragon Ball Super reviews. This episode we'll be reviewing is the episode 22, known as Change, Impossible Resurrection. The name is Ginyu. This episode was definitely what I wanted, what a lot of people probably wanted, but there are some things that turned me off. I'm mixed, and I think that's what Resurrection F's whole theme is going around, is mixed. I was mixed when I watched the movie, I was mixed when I'm watching the saga, only I'm a different type of mix now, because they made changes, but these changes are changes that I like, but some of them are changes that I kind of dislike. Let's just get on with the plot summary. Okay, so in this episode, Tagoma is coming out, he's all at full power, and our Z Warrior's about to fight him. Same stuff as what happened in the last episode. Piccolo charges in like a boss and punches Tagoma in the face, but it's of no effect because he's been used to Frieza bitch slapping him around when they were training for 4 months. So what ends up happening, our Z Warriors desperately try to fight Tagoma, and when they do, to no avail. Gohan does get a lucky shot in, but then out of nowhere, Gotenks comes in and nails Tagoma right in the balls. So Tagoma's down on the ground. Now, one thing that made me really disappointed about all of this is the fact that Goten and Trunks fused before showing up to the battlefield. I'm guessing it's so that they can make it to the battlefield a lot faster, but at the exact same time, this was a disappointment because when Goten and Trunks got there, they were first of all at Super Saiyan 1 of all things instead of Super Saiyan 3 like they're capable of doing, which hasn't been used at all except for in the Dragon Ball Super manga iteration of Battle of Gods. And then immediately they defuse right after hitting them. They nail Tagoma in the balls, call out Frieza, and then defuse. This is another thing I'm disappointed in. They defused. So, Frieza has seen Goten, who looks a lot like Goku, mind you, and Frieza has also seen Trunks, who looks like the one that cut Frieza in half, because technically Trunks is the one that cut Frieza in half, just not the future Trunks. So immediately I thought Frieza was just going to start open firing on these two, and Gohan and Piccolo were going to have to step in or something. Well, something like that happens, but not in the form of the way I wanted. And this is where I start to get a little mad, because first of all, Gotenks was only in the fight for a second, and all he did was hit Tagoma in the balls. After this happens, Captain Ginyu hops around in frog form, and I thought this was pretty clever. Since Ginyu is in frog form, he can't say the word change because he's stuck in the frog body. So what he ends up doing is scratching up the ground, and this is something that you learn later in this episode. You learn that Tagoma says change because it spells change on the ground because Ginyu scratched it up on the ground to make it look like the word change. I didn't know that Captain Ginyu could use the change body technique if the other person says change. That's pretty creative, and that gives Captain Ginyu a lot of range to do his attack. Anyway, the switch happens and Tagoma's in the frog body. Captain Ginyu is returned in fighting form now into the body of Tagoma. And actually, I will applaud this episode for this point because they actually explain a lot of what happened. And this is really good for viewers who haven't seen the Namekian saga of Dragon Ball Z. Granted, the entire Resurrection F saga doesn't really make sense unless you watch the Namekian saga. But he does explain in a full detail what has happened to him through the years that he was in frog form and how he remained on planet Earth. And Piccolo even backs it up as to go, alright, when Dende wished Porunga to make all of the people on planet Namek transfer to planet Earth, then Captain Ginyu was included in that. And then they even do something that I didn't think they would do. Bulma's like, I have a bad experience with that frog. And they ask him, and Bulma's like, I'd rather not talk about it. She's referencing the 2 or 3 or 4 episodes that she got her body switched out with Captain Ginyu in frog form and tried to fight Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo, but it was of no avail at all. So that's how Captain Ginyu wound up in frog form the entire time. And we even see, as when Trunks was a baby, he was playing with the frog. So it's pretty cool to see Captain Ginyu through the years. That was a really nice touch. So once the exposition of how Ginyu's back is in there, Captain Ginyu wastes no time going back to fight our Z Warriors, and you would think with him transferring into a new body it would be hard for him to access the power. However, Tagoma isn't pure like Goku, so I'm making the guess that Captain Ginyu had easy access to Tagoma's powers, so he was able to whoop on Krillin, Master Roshi, Tien, and Piccolo with relative ease. Gohan gets in the fray and he gets his butt kicked as well. Meanwhile, the Goten and Trunks are in the background, unfortunately, along with Jaco and Bulma. Bulma then quickly calls Whis so that they can get Goku and Vegeta together. And this is what I was a bit shocked, but I kind of called this. I knew they were going to do something like this based on the pacing of where the Goku and Vegeta are. Goku and Vegeta got transported to a place last episode. In the place, it's hard for them to move unless they have complete control of their ki, so that they don't waste access energy. So, in the area that they're in, though, it has the exact same atmosphere as the hyperbolic time chamber, which that could make a whole nother video topic in itself that I might end up making later on. However, since it's got the same qualities as the hyperbolic time chamber, I've kind of figured they would do this based on where Goku and Vegeta are exactly. This leads me to believe that now that Goku and Vegeta are in the hyperbolic time chamber dimension, is what I'll call it, they have more time to train before having to appear in the next episode where Goku and Vegeta show up. And that justifies them being being oblivious to what's been going on Earth so long, is because they have so much time to train now, which will justify their abilities once they make it to planet Earth. So, once that all goes down, though, Gohan finally decides to lock down and transform Super Saiyan in order to fight Tagoma, and for a while, well, Ginyu now, and for a while Gohan's actually putting up a pretty good fight until Frieza comes in, blasts Gohan in the shoulder, and then he just starts torturing him. And the reason he's torturing him is because Gohan reminded him of something that happened to him when Goku was Super Saiyan, where Goku tried to give Frieza mercy. And because of this, it struck anger in Frieza. Now Frieza's just blasting holes in Gohan left and right. He's about to do the finishing blow on Gohan, and Piccolo interferes, gets shot, and the episode more or less ends right there. Now, how do I feel about this episode? Like I said, it's a mixed bag. I don't like the fact that Gotenks' potential was completely wasted. First of all, Gotenks wasn't at Super Saiyan 3. That's a big disappointment to me, because Gotenks' Super Saiyan 3 would have been a decent fight against Ginyu / Tagoma. So that right there pisses me off, that they're not using Gotenks to his fullest potential. You could use the excuse that Gohan hasn't been fighting as much, which is why he couldn't maintain the Super Saiyan transformation very long when fighting off against Tagoma, but you can't use that lame-ass excuse with Goten and Trunks. They're children. They're youthful. They've been fighting. They've been active. You cannot use that lame excuse. Secondly, I hate the fact that they've been reduced to background commentary characters along with Jaco and Bulma. They're warriors. Even if Goten and Trunks defuse and are Goten and Trunks form, they're still able to fight. Granted, their Super Saiyan abilities aren't as strong as Gohan's, whose base form is stronger, but I still believe that Goten and Trunks put up a fight. Hell, these two kids fought Broly twice! You mean to tell me that they wouldn't even try to fight Tagoma / Ginyu? I'm not going to sit there and believe that. The next little issue I have is the fact that, is just purely on the fact that Goku and Vegeta's pacing, even though they're going in hyperbolic time chamber logic, still doesn't justify the fact that they're going to be training for a long time based on everything that's happening. But on the other side, I do like the fact that Goku and Vegeta aren't here yet, because it brings a new level of danger to our Z Warriors that wasn't presented in Resurrection F. Resurrection F had the Z Warriors completely annihilate the Frieza force, and then Frieza one-shotted Gohan, but they brought him back with the Senzu Bean, making the only threat is to wait for Goku and Vegeta to show up, and before anything got really crucial, Goku and Vegeta shows up. Like, basically right on time. This one brings a new level of danger where Frieza is hurting Gohan and there's nobody around to save him. So it brought a new level of emotions to me that made me think, oh crap, is Gohan gonna die? Now as for Piccolo, he's done this before with Nappa, but I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with him. I refuse to believe that Piccolo died simply for the fact that Piccolo's been shot in the chest before by Frieza and still lived. This is a stronger Frieza, you may argue, but Piccolo wasn't shot in the head, which means it's still technically possible for Piccolo to regenerate, and if he eats a senzu bean, that chance increases even more. Although if they kill off Piccolo, then it does make me curious as to what's going to happen in the rest of Dragon Ball Super. Either way, I think this was a really good episode, but it had a little bit of flaws in it. I do like the callbacks. However, I do feel like there was a little too much talking in this episode and not enough action. At least not as much action as we wanted. The big disappointment here falls on Goten and Trunks. I raised so much of my hopes when Goten and Trunks flew to the battlefield in order to fight off against Tagoma / Ginyu, only for them to be stricken down when they finally get there, defused, and now they're just side characters. What was the point of them even showing the fuck up then? Regardless, hopefully they'll be able to bring more to the battle than just being there. I'm thinking to myself, maybe Jocko, Goten, and Trunks will all get together and fight the army, because there's still an army that Frieza has. He has a second wave of soldiers, estimated about 500. Master Roshi said they can take 170 soldiers, but then we take into account there's Goten, Trunks, and Jocko. I believe that they can take out the whole army. Regardless, I'm looking a little too far into the future. All I hope for is that the saga makes some well-made changes. From the previews we'll see the one thing that I kind of have a thought about, but I won't explain till the next review. And then we have another thing that's going to happen, which I've seen happening all this time, and I'm not really hyped for because the movie does it too. But the next episode is titled Earth, Gohan, a desperate situation. Hurry back, Son Goku. So with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 out.